So it's unquestionable that video games in the past decade have exploded in popularity and commercial success, and this explosion of popularity has resulted in a lot of questions on whether they are helpful or harmful to its audience. And among these questions is whether or not violent video games cause violent behavior. And like as you will see, that the research done on this question to support either claim is simply flawed and inconclusive. Now, it's a common thought that video games do indeed increase violent behavior and tendencies, and like the sorry, that there have been many articles that argue that violence in the fictional construct of video games would result in violence occurring in real life, and the increase in popularity should result in a higher rate of crimes. But there's a statistic that was released the past 2 years that show that violent crimes in the United States have decreased dramatically within the past decade as the popularity of video games have increased dramatically, exponentially. And with this in mind, it doesn't really make sense that if violent video games cause violent behavior, that it would decrease violent crimes. And naturally, if violent crimes are decreasing, it should show that violent video games do not cause violent behavior. But it is important to understand that this statistic does not simply prove that violent video games do nothing to our minds. It simply is true because violent media is not the only contributing factor to violent video games, or to violent behavior. And it means that the research done is simply inconclusive. That the prime focus in these studies are whether or not violent video games increase violent behavior, and that more research needs to be done. And thank you.